You probably know the Battle of Thermopylae. 300 shirtless Spartans stand inside a narrow pass. Leonidas shouts. Xerxes watches from his golden throne. Someone gets kicked into a bottomless pit. History apparently needed more abdominal muscles. The real battle involved thousands of Greek soldiers, an organized Persian army, political divisions, religious delays, and one military plan that failed before reinforcements could arrive. Our main ancient source is Herodotus. He wrote decades after the battle and mixed eyewitness traditions with stories, speeches, and numbers that historians still debate. So let's examine 8 facts about the 300 Spartans that movies, television, and the internet keep repeating. The first one already removes several thousand men from the poster. 300 against the entire Persian Empire. It sounds perfect. It is also wrong. Herodotus lists soldiers from Corinth, Arcadia, Mycenae, Thebes, Thespiae, Phocis, and several other Greek communities. Modern historians estimate that between 6,000 and 7,000 Greek troops defended Thermopylae at the beginning of the battle. Leonidas commanded 300 Spartan citizens. They formed one part of a coalition. Even during the final stand, the Spartans did not fight alone. Around 700 Thespians remained with them. 400 Thebans also stayed, although historians still debate whether they volunteered or whether Leonidas forced them to remain. Helots accompanied the Spartan contingent as attendants and laborers. Some may have fought. Ancient sources never recorded their exact number because enslaved men rarely received the same attention as Spartan citizens. So the final defense involved more than 300 men. 700 Thespians simply proved harder to market. The movies present the 300 as an ancient special forces unit. Leonidas supposedly inspected every warrior, measured his courage, and selected the finest men Sparta could produce. Perhaps there was also an audition for dramatic shouting. Herodotus gives us a more practical requirement. Every chosen Spartan needed to have a living son. Leonidas expected heavy casualties. Selecting fathers with surviving sons protected their family lines and preserved the households attached to those warriors. The 300 also represented only a fraction of Sparta's military strength. Sparta was observing the Carnaea, a religious festival dedicated to Apollo. Other Greek cities faced a similar delay because the Olympic festival was taking place. The Spartans intended to send their full army after the celebrations. Leonidas and his men went ahead as an advance force, partly to encourage other Greek cities to resist Persia. They were selected for a dangerous mission. Ancient Sparta did not empty its barracks and discover that only 300 men had remembered Leg Day. Movies give Leonidas a clear plan. March north, make a heroic speech, kill thousands of Persians, and die in slow motion. Military commanders usually prefer plans that allow their soldiers to survive. The Greeks intended to block the Persian army at Thermopylae while their fleet confronted the Persian navy near Artemisium. The narrow pass reduced Persia's numerical advantage and forced Xerxes to attack with limited groups. For 2 days, the strategy worked. The mission became a final stand after the Persians found a mountain route around the Greek position. Leonidas learned that his army faced encirclement and dismissed most of the surviving contingents. The Spartans and Thespians stayed. The Thebans remained under circumstances that Herodotus describes as forced, although scholars question that version. Even the claim that every Spartan died needs correction. Aristodemus survived because of an eye disease. Eurytus suffered from the same condition but ordered an attendant to guide him back into battle, where he died. Pantites missed the fighting while completing a mission for Leonidas. Spartan society disgraced the survivors. One later died trying to recover his honor, while another reportedly took his own life. The final stand involved courage, military necessity, and severe social pressure. Reality rarely fits inside one inspirational speech. Herodotus counted more than 2 million Persian fighting men. After adding sailors, servants, and support personnel, his total passed 5 million. At that point, Xerxes would have commanded less of an army and more of a migrating country. Modern historians reject those numbers as literal troop counts. Moving several million people through Greece would have created impossible demands for food, roads, water, and sanitation. Current estimates vary. Some historians propose around 70,000 troops. Others suggest 200,000 or 300,000. Nobody can produce an exact number from the surviving evidence. Xerxes still commanded a force much larger than the Greek army. That force included cavalry, engineers, infantry, archers, and sailors recruited from across the Achaemenid Empire. Persians, Medes, Egyptians, Phoenicians, Bactrians, and many other peoples participated in the invasion. They followed officers, carried specialized equipment, and operated across land and sea. They were not a screaming crowd waiting for 300 men to teach them how spears worked. The Persian army posed a serious threat because it was large, experienced, and organized. Turning it into a parade of monsters makes the Greek defense look less impressive, not more. The cinematic Spartan wears a cape, leather briefs, and enough oil to become a battlefield hazard. A real hoplite needed something more useful. Spartan warriors carried large round shields, long thrusting spears and swords. They could wear bronze helmets, chest protection, and greaves covering their lower legs. Equipment varied according to period and personal resources, but no Greek commander developed a tactical doctrine around exposed abdominal muscles. The shield formed the center of hoplite combat. Soldiers stood close together with each shield protecting part of the man beside it. That formation allowed disciplined Greek infantry to hold the narrow pass against repeated attacks. A warrior who abandoned the line to perform an elegant spinning attack could expose everyone around him. Thermopylae rewarded formation, endurance, and control. The real fighting probably looked crowded, exhausting, and frightening. It would have made terrible slow motion. Popular retellings described Thermopylae as democracy standing against tyranny. Someone forgot to check how Sparta worked. Sparta had 2 hereditary kings, a council of elders, 5 powerful officials called ephors, and an assembly restricted to male Spartan citizens. Those citizens formed a small ruling class. Helots performed most agricultural labor under coercion and lived under the threat of state violence. Sparta's military system depended on their exploitation. Athens had created a form of democracy, but even Athens excluded women, enslaved people, and foreigners from political participation. Several Greek cities supported Persia or submitted when Xerxes approached. Greece did not operate as one democratic nation because no such nation existed. The alliance at Thermopylae fought to preserve the independence of its city-states. Its members wanted to keep their governments, territory, laws, and local power. Those motives mattered. Calling them modern democratic freedom gives ancient Sparta a political makeover that even Hollywood's costume department could not manage. Every historical epic needs a traitor. A secret mountain passage helps. The mountain route was not secret. Local people knew it existed. Greek commanders knew it existed. They stationed around 1,000 Phocians on the mountain to guard it. Ephialtes gave the Persians precise information and guided them through the terrain. During the night, Persian troops under Hydarnes followed the route toward the Greek rear. The Phocians heard them approaching and moved to higher ground. They expected the Persians to attack, but Hydarnes continued along the path and completed the encirclement. Ephialtes did not discover a magical tunnel that appeared whenever the plot needed one. He showed the Persians how to exploit a vulnerability already built into the Greek plan. The Greeks knew the path could decide the battle. They simply failed to hold it. The Spartans fought bravely. Their final stand became legendary. Persia still won the battle. Xerxes broke through Thermopylae and marched south. Persian forces destroyed Thespiae and Plataea before entering the evacuated city of Athens. They captured the city and burned major buildings. Calling Thermopylae a military victory requires a creative definition of victory. The Greek fleet also withdrew from Artemisium because the loss of the pass exposed its position. The wider campaign changed later at Salamis, where the Greek fleet defeated the Persian navy. Xerxes returned to Asia with part of his army, leaving Mardonius to continue the invasion. In the following year, a large Greek coalition defeated Mardonius at Plataea. Greek forces also won at Mycale. Those victories stopped the Persian invasion. Thermopylae delayed Xerxes, tested Persian tactics, and gave the Greek alliance a powerful story of sacrifice. It did not destroy the Persian army or save Greece by itself. Thousands of soldiers and sailors from numerous city-states won the wider war. Reducing everything to 300 Spartans turns a complicated coalition victory into a personal branding campaign for Leonidas. Some volunteered, others followed orders. A few stayed because returning home might have brought a punishment worse than death. Persia captured the pass. The Greek coalition won the war months later. The movie gave us better speeches. History gave us the better story.